Welcome to Faithfully Speaking, where faith finds a voice and God's truth changes lives. Because when we stop agreeing with the world and start agreeing with God, everything changes. I'm Mila. Welcome to the Watch Your Mouth series. In episode 1, we asked, what are you agreeing with? In episode 2, we asked, what are you rehearsing? God's provision or your challenges? Today, we're bringing the conversation even closer to home. We're talking about the way you talk about yourself. And today's question is powerful. Would Jesus say that about you? Think about the things you say about yourself when nobody else is around. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I did this wrong again. I'm such a failure. Most of us wouldn't say those things to a friend, not even to a stranger. We would never say them to our kids. Yet many of us say those things to ourselves every single day. So today, I want to ask you, would Jesus say that about you? I remember a season in my life where I was constantly criticizing myself. And honestly, I think as a mom, that's something many of us struggle with. We wonder if we're doing enough. We question our decisions all the time. We compare ourselves. We focus more on what we got wrong than what we got right. So at that time specifically, every mistake felt huge. Every failure felt like proof that I wasn't enough. I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't being enough. And before I knew it, I wasn't just thinking those thoughts, I was speaking them. And the more I repeated those words, the more I started to believe it. But when we bring Jesus to the picture and we start to find our identity in Him, things change. So today I'm asking you, would Jesus say that about yourself? You know, Jesus corrects us. Jesus grows us. Jesus lovingly disciples us. But Jesus does not define us by our failures. And that realization changed the way I spoke to myself. But your words matter because God can hear it even if you just think it. Eventually, the words you speak repeatedly become the beliefs you carry. I said it in the first episode, the enemy loves for us to repeat lies long enough that they start to feel like the truth. Lies like, I'm not good enough, I'll never change, I'm too broken, I'm too far gone. Rebuke that. Feelings are not facts. And actually feelings make terrible identity statements. The word says, you are your mistakes. But Jesus says, you are redeemed. The word says, you'll never change. And Jesus says, I'm making all things new. The word says, you aren't enough. But you know what Jesus says? My grace is sufficient for you. The word says, your past defines you. And Jesus says, you are a new creation. And this is not us pretending to be perfect. It's about refusing to agree with lies about ourselves. So if Jesus wouldn't say it about you, stop repeating it about yourself. Let me say this again. If Jesus wouldn't say it about you, stop repeating it about yourself. So the next time you catch yourself saying something negative or bad about yourself, stop for a moment and ask, would Jesus say that about me? And let God's truth become louder than your inner critic. So this week's challenge for you is pay attention to the way you speak about yourself. Every time you catch yourself speaking negatively about who you are, stop and ask, would Jesus say that about me? If the answer is no, which it is, replace it with truth. Not positive thinking, truth. Not feelings, truth. You know, you're not who your mistakes says you are. You're not who your insecurities says you are. You are not who your fear says you are. You are who Jesus says you are. So thank you so much for joining me for Faithfully Speaking today. My name is Mila, and if this message encouraged you, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone that needs to hear it. Until next time, keep speaking truth, keep walking in faith, and keep faithfully speaking. Bye.